immediate concern? Domestic issues, foreign relations, trade, security? Or does Trump have a sense of security behind his seemingly callous rhetorics and method to his madness, so to call? Will he take a very transactional approach, seeking immediate benefits for immediate acts? Or does he see every deal as separate and discrete? Or does he place any emphasis on principle, whether it's the principle of freedom of navigation, non-proliferation, or human rights? So,
policy, Henry Kissinger wrote a book in 2001, I think, called "Does America Need Foreign Policy?" His conclusion was that yes, America does need foreign policy. I don't think that Trump believes that America needs foreign policy. I would argue that Trump sees foreign policy as something that limits his maneuverability. He's much more comfortable operating in an environment that he's not beholden to any ideology or any set of rules. He was not even willing to tell what he will do if Hillary wins the election. So why would he want to have red lines or all kinds of foreign policy guidelines? I think the nature of the person is that he's much more comfortable in an environment in which he can make up his mind based on a whim or based on his judgment of things as they come, ad hocish, without having to conform to any broad-stroke ideological or policy or grand strategy that we as foreign policy wonks are so accustomed to operate within. And therefore, those of you who are seeking answers and guidelines and directions and trajectories, you may be disappointed and you may not get any of those in the next 4 years. In my mind, there are two main reasons why I believe that despite the rhetoric, despite the abundance of so many potential flashpoints in Asia-Pacific region, Trump is less likely to fall into the trap of sleepwalking into a conflict or military conflict. The one reason is that he is the first president that I can think of in history that I can recall that does not see the world through the lens of geopolitics, but through the lens of geoeconomics. He views the world in a very different lens, which we in America have forgotten even, because our infrastructure, our intellectual infrastructure is very much in the DNA of thinking geopolitically. Our think tanks are all geopolitical think tanks. They don't know even how to think in terms of geoeconomics. And he's not like this. He is seeing the world through the prism of geoeconomics, which leads you to a whole different worldview. Second, he is not beholden to what I call the war lobby, or what Eisenhower called the military-industrial complex. He never took money from them, he doesn't feel that he owes them anything, he takes pride of being a free thinker who is not constrained by money or financial contributors and so forth. And I think that there's always a chance that somebody will rub him the wrong way and there will be an escalation, and to a point that, because he has his ego and he's a nationalist, or if he feels that America's pride or honor is being hurt, he may respond in a disproportionate way, as he does typically when he's provoked. So I would definitely advise the sort of players in the region not to provoke, because he may not seek conflict, but we know from what we've seen of him that every time when he is provoked or attacked, he responds in a disproportional fashion. So that could happen. But in order to avoid all of this, the key is to find sufficient mechanisms of de-escalation. So when things go wrong, we have a way to dial the dynamic backward instead of letting escalation get us to the precipice of war. And that, I think this is what, in the end, will be the key question. So if North Korea does something, or something happens in the South China Sea or elsewhere, will the escalation lead to conflict, or will there be enough tripwire, enough elements along the way that can say, okay, stop, let's de-escalate. That has to do with personal relationships between the leaders, how well they know each other, how comfortable, how they get along, and of course all the bureaucracy underneath. But we don't have it right now. We don't have a bureaucracy in Washington at the moment that can even handle all of this. We have a president surrounded by a few dozen people, and that's it. So let's hope that we don't have any crisis in the next several months, because at this particular moment in time, the instruments or the bureaucracy that has to deal with the crisis is not even there to deal with it.